Good day, I am Amadin Ogbewe. Now, the 2022 World TB Report estimates that 10.6 million people, Nigerians, were diagnosed with tuberculosis in 2021. Now, the World Health Organization and African nations such as Nigeria have ramped up efforts to eradicate neglected tropical diseases such as Buruli Ulcer and leprosy by 2030. Today, I'm joined by the National Coordinator and Director for the National Tuberculosis, Leprosy and Buruli Ulcer Control Program at the Ministry of Health. He speaks to me about the efforts to end these diseases once and for all. Right, Dr. Chukwuma, welcome to Talk Talk.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning. All right, sir. Let's talk about, the progress made so far. And before that, we'll just have a general overview. What has really, or what is it about really, the program for control of leprosy, tuberculosis, and Buruli ulcer?
Well, I think I'll start with the mandate of the Federal Minister of Health and also our mission as a country. Our mandate is to make sure that we reduce to zero level, if possible, of people dying of tuberculosis, leprosy, and Buruli ulcer. And we felt that the only way we can do that is to bring every person together, and then both the government, the private sector, the civil society, the philanthropy, and every meaning Nigerian, to make sure that we put our hands together, more especially when our health system is built on the principle of primary health care. So our resolve is to bring every person together, come up with a strong policy, and ensure that we actually deliberately implement the policies to ensure that no person is left behind in terms of leprosy, Buruli ulcer, and tuberculosis.
All right, so that's fair enough. For the layman out there, someone who might not understand, why were these three specific diseases, and why are they a focus, and why are they grouped together, so to speak, in the process to end them?
Well, they belong, first of all, they are being classified, the health platform by the WHO as diseases of public health importance. And etiologically, you will find out that the three diseases are caused by a particular set of bacteria called mycobacterium. So for the one of tuberculosis is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The one for leprosy is caused by Mycobacterium leprae. The one for Buruli ulcer is Mycobacterium Buruli ulcerans. So Mycobacterium ulcerans. So you see, they have peculiarity, and in the wisdom of the Federal Minister of Health, they have to group them together. And under the World Health Organization, you will see that most of them are grouped as neglected tropical diseases. And it affects people, at the crossroads. To say disease of poverty. Why is it called disease of poverty? Because it has to do with immune system sometimes. So when you're not eating well, your immune system drops. When you have an infection that affects your immune system, tuberculosis can come in, something like HIV or poor feeding and all that. And then when you have a poor environmental condition, poor living condition, poorly ventilated environment, so it affects people majorly diseases like tuberculosis can now set in. And that is why we now talk of good housing, ventilation. It must not be a very big one, but well-ventilated environment is going to help in the aspect of prevention of tuberculosis, because the organism is suspended in the air, and when you inhale the organism, it enters your body. Whatever that happens depends on the way your body handles it. Like for instance, so many people could be going around with that organism in their system, but because their immune system is strong, they'll be able to suppress it, or to an extent, they'll keep it, very silent in their system. That's what they call it, dormant. It becomes dormant. Do you understand me? So in that case, we call it latent tuberculosis. But if for any reason your immune system comes down, either you're not eating well, or like I said, you have any disease that will affect your system, it will come up. But in some cases, if accurately if it comes there and your immune system is not good enough, it will manifest. Probably after 2 weeks or thereabout. Sometimes for tuberculosis it comes, and then you come with cough, loss of weight, excessive sweating in the night, and general feeling of being unwell. So, and then you cough. Practically, the person is coughing, is taking the normal, antibiotic, cough syrup, and headache subside. Ask you, to go and see the health worker. And for us at the national program, we came up with the instruction that if you cough for more than 2 weeks, you should either go to the nearest healthcare facility to complain, or you call 3340. If you call 3340, someone will speak to you from the other end, and then ask you some questions and find a way of making sure that you get the appropriate care.
All right, that's really interesting and good to know. So now let's just quickly touch on the other two, just before we move ahead to more issues, because I think people have misconceptions. Take for instance, there's Buruli ulcer. People have heard the word ulcer, but they don't know where is the Buruli coming from and what does it mean. And there's a misconception particularly that ulcer is caused by not eating, So I'd like you to, I don't know if it's a misconception anyway, so you are the expert, so you really want to tell us. And then the issue of leprosy, people also believe that leprosy is a thing from biblical times that doesn't exist anymore. So those two diseases, if you can throw more light on it a bit.
Well, an ulcer comes when there is a breach in the epithelial lining, in the walls of your gut or a system or your skin or thereabouts. That is called an ulcer. The ulcer in the gut is called peptic ulcer or thereabouts. The epithelial lining. If there's any corrosion, you understand, you have that wound there. That is called ulcer. In terms of the skin or thereabouts, if there's a break on the normal skin structure, epithelial lining, when it's not healed, it becomes an ulcer. Now, so the ulcer of the gut and that of the leg, they are all ulcer just by that principle, that definition. When there is a breakage, that is the ulcer. But the one of Buruli ulcer is because it's attached to an organism caused by Mycobacterium ulcerans. Now, if you go back to the history, literature has it that there is a location in Uganda called Buruli. I think that's where the name came from. So it has a Buruli ulcer. So it's different from the ulcer that you could have due to diabetes or you could have an ulcer that is not poorly treated, a wound that is poorly treated. But this particular one is because, do you understand me, that the organism has that predilection to eat into the skin. Do you understand me? The organism has that predilection. It has the enzyme, the secrete that keep eating into the wound. Except that organism is terminated or killed, it will continue to cause that. So ordinarily, it will not go. But when you go through the normal diagnostic platform, you find that it's Buruli ulcer, and we give you antibiotics that is specific for that Buruli ulcer. It will go. Now, the catch is there is, if you come early enough, when the wound has not made so much impact, because if you leave it, it can even go through to the bone. I know even if you stop the organism from growing, it has caused a very big gap. Do you understand me? So in which case, after making sure that the organism has been killed, the next one is to go for skin grafting. That's why sometimes they'll patch some skin from the labs, or you understand me, and take it to that place and grow it, just like, allow it will heal. You understand me? To make sure that that place is healed. Now, because our health-seeking behavior in Nigeria is poor, people do not go early enough. They may think maybe it's a voodoo, or it's a charm, or witchcraft, or maybe someone has caused you, your uncle or one witch in your compound has caused you to have that wound. Because ordinarily, when something bites you about, after a while you should go. Normal, body healing process. But this one will not go. So they say this one is maybe witchcraft, and they won't go. So if it affects probably here or the joint, it will cause contraction. That's why sometimes it affects most children. Those children come very at the third degree, where there has become a lot of contraction. You cannot stretch this hand. So now what we do when they come late, what we now do is to make sure we treat the wound and try to release the hand, and then do the skin grafting, and the baby gets well. So it's one of the diseases that comes with a lot of disability. The aspect of disability it comes is very enormous. Do you understand me? So, and that is why we're preaching that when you have such wound, go to the nearest hospital. And if it's treated early enough, the baby is okay. So the program is not happy, and we want to end Buruli ulcer in the country, especially when it's affecting the children.
Professor, now to leprosy.
Yeah.
The general.
Well, leprosy is as old as the Bible, and it is not caused by witchcraft. The problem we have is the level of stigma and discrimination. Of those days in the Bible, they say if you have leprosy, you should be ringing bell and people will run into their board and hide. No. Leprosy is just like any other disease caused by a mycobacterium leprae. It runs a very long and insidious course. It's very patient. It can stay 1, 2, 3, sometimes 5 years before it comes up. And sometimes we think it's just like, vitiligo. Sometimes you see some skin patches. Do you understand me? If you do not go to the doctor to see a dermatologist or a trained health officer that will tell you this is, by the time you know it, it will cause a lot of harm. What does it do? It has, these enjoys affecting the skin and the peripheral areas, the nerve endings. That's why you see those with leprosy, either the toes are going, or the fingers, or the earlobes. But another problem we have with leprosy is that even if you cure the organism, if you kill the organism, the impact it has caused will remain. Your fingers, your toes can never grow again. So that's why you see them like this. So we're also, our program is talking about not just curing the leprosy, but rehabilitating them. Because our health skin behavior is late, when they come, it's very late. You must have chopped off the hands or the feet. So what happens if you are a barber, or a seamstress, or a cook, or you can't even do anything with your cloth hands? Do you understand? So that's why the next thing is early diagnosis and treatment. Because the treatment is free. Diagnosis is free. And it's preventable and curable. So we want people to know, get the right information about leprosy, and stop stigmatizing about them, and stop discriminating. It runs with that, and look at this family, the mom and dad had leprosy, so no person will want to associate with them. And that is the major problem they have. Even when we try to put them in the colonies, put them together thereabouts, because of the stigma and discrimination in the communities, they can't go back to the communities. That's why if you go to the leprosorium, like the one in Zuakala or the one in Nigeria, you see them there. So we should know that these things are not caused by witchcraft. Now the WHO is coming up with a new strategy of treatment as prevention. If you have come in contact with someone with leprosy, they give you the drug for a certain duration, and you won't develop leprosy. So we are going higher to ensure that we kick out leprosy in the country. But the worrisome aspect of it is that children are coming up with leprosy. Whenever you see children coming up with an disease, that means that there's an active community transmission of such diseases. So if it were adults, you could say the person has had it for a while and maybe you are just diagnosing late. But when you see children coming up with leprosy, that means there's an active community transmission of leprosy in the community. And we think we need to stop it as a country.
All right, so that's fair enough. Thanks for that breakdown. Now, we're aware about the 2020, the strategic plan 2021 to 2025, which is targeted at meeting the 2030 goal of the Sustainable Development Goal. So I'd like to know, what's the progress on that so far, especially in terms of all the activities we've been doing, and also in sensitization. Are people more informed now than they were maybe some years ago?
Yes. Now, in any infectious disease, the leprosy, either Buruli Ulcer or tuberculosis, the core principles, one is prevention. Second one is early diagnosis. The third one is placing on treatment, effective and efficient, treatment protocol, and putting up every mechanism that will remain in care. That means an optimal treatment adherence. And that will be a sure way of curing that disease and ending the transmission to the next person. So these three core principles are what we are driving at in the national program. What we are doing now is primary prevention. Let people know. I can tell you that there has been an improvement. We've not gotten there. Because years ago, you will be embarrassed to know that only 25% of Nigerians know about tuberculosis, and that is very present in our country. To the extent that Nigeria is number one in terms of burden of tuberculosis in Africa, and number 6 globally. I would think it's time for us to change the narrative. So that is why we are, expanding our intervention strategies, you know, radio jingles, engaging people of the media, engaging the policymakers, and to let people know that these diseases are with us in a very high burden. Do you understand me? The next one is to look for the resources to diagnose them early enough, which, you know, I can say we are doing very well in terms of tuberculosis. By the survey that was done a decade ago in 2012, you know, annually, Nigeria, you know, records not less than 450,000 tuberculosis in a year. And we have successfully been improving on our case finding. Our case finding in the sense that tuberculosis is a very dangerous infection. That one unintervened case has the capacity to infect more than 15 people in a year. So the problem we have now is to fish out the missing cases in the country and then early enough to place them on treatment and making sure they return in care for absolute cure. So in 2020, to understand, even in the midst of COVID-19, Nigeria is among the countries that recorded an increase in case notification for tuberculosis. I think at the end of 2020, we were able to, you know, to record 138,591 cases. Now in 2021, by the efforts of every person, implementing partners, you know, funders from Global Fund, American government, Stop TB partnerships, civil society, media, and others, we were able to, for the first time, break into above 207,000 missing cases. That is 50% of what we had in 2020. Do you understand me? So, and not just getting those missing cases, those people are actually placed on treatment. I'm glad to tell you that by the end of 2022, we made another giant stride of also getting above 285,000 missing cases and placing them. That means at the moment, Nigeria has been able to place above 50% of the estimated burden, but we have not gotten there. And the things we can do more. So that shows that, you know, Nigeria, you know, actually has a high burden of tuberculosis. So we are calling every person, every woman in Nigeria, that loves Nigeria, to come up, to help, to expand our interventions, and to ensure that we do not, you know, go back. We increase our momentum. Since we have already gotten above 50%, if we put more efforts, we'll go in and then hit, you know, at least the crescendo. We can now start coming down to say that we have hit, we are now controlling. But now I'm talking to every person that we should gather every effort we can to make sure that we do not go back, and we make sure we keep moving forward in terms of case notification and placing, you know, people appropriately on treatment.
That's
the only sure way of our hitting, you know, being able to the target of, you know, 2030 of, you know, universal health coverage and leaving no one behind.
all right. So that's fair enough. So from what you've said now, you've talked about the progress and all that. So I'd like to know, are there obstacles you encounter while trying to do all of what you've mentioned, things that kind of hinder you from making the kind of progress you want to be making?
Yeah, and well, of course, we have challenges. You know, one of the challenges is, you know, the resources. You know, because by sheer, you know, efforts of every person, we could see that we have a lot of gap. I tell you, we have at the moment 69% funding gap. So, and the majority of the funding is from outside the Global Fund, the American government, you know, and then asking that we increase on our domestic funding, and then for the external funders to also increase on their funding, to majorly the funding, and then the passion, because if it's not all about money, but it's all about leadership too, and also being able to serve with passion, looking for results. And then we also come up with being able to appreciate people, set up competition, like tuberculosis program. We come up with this strategy of encouraging, giving an award. It's not just the money, an award of the best program manager from the states, because we have 36 plus 1 states, and we have program managers, and those program managers oversee the 3 diseases. So we have come up with a competitive competition, and then even in terms of being able to reach out, being able to make people know that this is it, going to the policymakers and the funders. So we put up such strategies to make sure that we put up efforts to maintain the momentum of the intervention.
All right, so you already touched on it, but I just like to use that to round up. Are there any, common misconceptions you might want to, douse and kill once and for all, and also basic sensitization that you feel people should have that they might not already do? Just little things, because you talked about a clean environment and all that. I think people might be surprised as to say such diseases are too big to be caused by just an unclean environment. So those kind of sensitization. That was very quickly.
So, summarily, the 3 diseases are infectious diseases.
Are they curable?
Are preventable. Leprosy, Buruli ulcer, and tuberculosis are curable. Leprosy, Buruli ulcer, and tuberculosis are preventable. Leprosy, Buruli ulcer, and tuberculosis, the treatment of those diseases is free, and they are not caused by witchcraft. They are not caused by any voodoo. It is not a punishment from God. And so people should know that people should stop discrimination and stigmatization, because those drive the diseases underground. And if you have any illness, if you notice your body, something has happened to you, go to the nearest healthcare facility. For tuberculosis, if you have coughed for more than 2 weeks, you notice you are losing weight, you sleep in the night, you wake up, your bone is soaked with sweat, and you have general feeling of weight, please call the National Toll Line 3340. Someone will talk to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chukwuma, for your enlightenment, and I hope you make more progress in the program. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.